Yeah, welcome to all our friends who have joined the webinar. I will just wait a couple of minutes. People are still joining in, so we'll just start the session in the next couple of minutes. Thank you so much for joining in. Yeah, so we'll start with the session. So thank you to all our friends who have joined the session today. So today's session is regarding a topic which a lot of people have interest in, technical analysis. So we'll cover the broad topics which are there in technical analysis and how to go about trading in technical analysis. We'll explain a few setups and the important things to keep at the back of your mind while trading in the market. So I'll keep the session a mix of both Hindi and English for the benefit of the clients. And at the end of the session, we'll have a Q&A. So anyone having any queries regarding the topic, please feel free to ask your questions. Please do note that we may not be able to take stock specific questions. If it's anything related to the topic, we'll be more than interested in taking the questions. Thank you. So let's get started. So before we anyone goes into the actual trading, it's important to understand the bigger picture. What are the main factors which drive our market, and what is happening around the world? It is important to know these basic things before actually doing technical analysis on a day-to-day basis or making use of technical analysis, because ये सारे factors आपको help करते हैं. भले ही आपको आपके पोजीशन लेने में it may not be significant, but having the knowledge at the back of your mind कि क्या हो रहा है ग्लोबल लेवल पे, डेफिनेटली एक एडेड कॉन्फिडेंस देता है ट्रेड करते समय. सो विल जस्ट लुक एट व्हाट आर द इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स that a trader should keep at the back of the mind while taking a position or while trading. So we'll brush up on few important concepts and then we'll come to the actual technical analysis part. So I hope this slide is visible to everyone. So इस slide में चार important factors है which actually drives the liquidity in the market. So liquidity is the most important thing which drives the actual movement or day-to-day movement in the market. And this chart very well currently explains why there has been significant FII selling and what is the impact which we are seeing in our markets. So if you see the first, the topmost slide on the if you see the topmost slide, you will see that it is indicating that the US dollar index is currently trading at a 57 day high. जो अभी डॉलर इंडेक्स का वैल्यू है that is at 104.15 levels. So this has had a negative impact. Dollar index generally tends to have an inverse correlationship with the equity markets, that is emerging equity markets. And of late, we are seeing a pickup in the dollar index. It generally tends to have a higher correlation with the metal index also. तो जब भी डॉलर इंडेक्स बढ़ता है, मेटल इंडेक्स या मेटल के काउंटर्स में थोड़ा सेलिंग प्रेशर देखने को मिलता है, एंड दैट इज व्हाट वी आर करेंटली सीइंग एज वेल. The other important pointer to note is the rise in the 10-year bond yields. तो यूएस में बॉन्ड yield जो है that has also picked up pace in the last few trading sessions. And if you see, a major part of the selling has come by FIS. तो FI का जो ये सेल फिगर है ये महीने में, it is the highest ever sell figure on a monthly basis. Please do note that we are still at the 23rd of this particular month. अभी भी ये महीने में 7-8 ट्रेडिंग सेशन अभी बाकी है, बट करंटली दी सेल फिगर्स आर दी हाईएस्ट एवर. कोविड के पीरियड में भी इतना सेल फिगर नहीं आया था, that is during a particular month. I'm not saying a year on year basis or a longer duration. I'm just saying कि एक month में कभी भी इतना FI का selling एक particular महीने में हुआ नहीं है. And these are the all the factors which are currently causing a bit of selling pressure in our markets. तो ये जो लास्ट वाला चार्ट है वो हमारे मार्केट्स इंडेक्स दैट इज निफ्टी का चार्ट है. सो क्लियरली यू कैन सी अ डिप ऑन द डाउन साइड. The only one positive thing for us at the current juncture from economic perspective is the crude oil prices. तो crude का जो prices है it is trading relatively in a comfort zone for us, that is between $72 to $76 a barrel. तो that is a positive trigger for us. The reason being हम लोग जो crude import करते हैं it generally is in dollar terms and we are large importers of crude oil. So till the time crude is trading below the levels of $80-$85 a barrel, we are in a good position. So if you see the other important things, so first we have understood why the outflow of FII funds have happened. It is because they are getting better returns in their domestic markets itself. This is another picture which clearly demonstrates that itself. You can see at the right on the topmost chart, it's slightly difficult to visualize, but I'll just explain it. These are the various indices the world over, the top performing indices the world over in the last 12 months. That is on a year to year basis. तो आप क्लियरली देख सकते हैं कि Nasdaq has been the best performing index, that is the US market IT index, that is it has been the best performing index on a year on year basis. And all the fund flow what is happening with the sell off by FIIs is we believe that the fund flow is going back into the US markets itself. They are getting good returns over there, as well as the bond yields also have picked up over there. And there is a bit of uncertainty for them also, because next month we have the US elections, so they also would like to keep a bit of cash on their hands. So the next month 5th I presume is the US elections, and the outcome of which will be seen in the next day, that is on 6th of November. So that is also an important event for the entire equity markets the world over, because the US is the largest equity market, and what happens in the US definitely has an impact on the rest of the markets as well. But the important thing I wanted to highlight is liquidity is what drives the market, and currently we are seeing a flow of funds from our markets and going towards the US markets itself. So if you see on a year on year basis, Nasdaq has given a return of 39%. Our markets, if you see, have given a return anywhere close to around 26%, 24% on a year to year basis. So we were doing relatively well, but in the last 1 month, that is, we have witnessed a correction of nearly 6% on the downside. Within that, within our markets, which are the sectors which are actually facing pressure and which are witnessing a correction? So if you see on a year to year basis, Nifty Auto and Nifty Pharma are the best performing sectorial indices. भले ही लास्ट 2-3 महीने से थोड़ा प्रेशर आया, especially in the auto sector we are witnessing a bit of selling pressure, because that was the one sector which had witnessed the most rally as well. The sector which witnesses the most rally generally tends to witness the most correction as well. Even though it was the strongest sector about a month back, there has been a bit of profit booking which has happened in the auto space, especially post the results of Bajaj Auto, wherein the entire auto pack came under a bit of selling pressure. The worst performing index, if you see on a year on year basis, that would be Bank Nifty and the FMCG index. These indices have relatively underperformed the broader market. Bank Nifty specifically because HDFC Bank, जो merger हुआ था HDFC Bank का with HDFC, post that the stock has the highest weightage within Bank Nifty. So if you see, HDFC Bank per se has underperformed in the last 12 months, which has resulted in Bank Nifty relatively underperforming. And FMCG counters also generally tend to underperform because it is considered as a defensive space. When the markets are in such a strong bull run, no one wants to buy defensive stocks. But going ahead, we may witness a bit of rally. We had witnessed actually FMCG was doing relatively well in the last 3-4 months, but that particular index also has come under a bit of pressure in the last 15-20 trading sessions. So it is important to understand which sectors are doing good, which economies are doing good. even if you're doing short term trading, you should have a knowledge of which sectors are relatively outperform, because if you do short term trading, also it is always better to do in the sectors which are relatively outperforming. So we'll be taking a few slides regarding that as well. So ratio chart is a very important concept. So uske through the help of ratio charts, I'll explain how you can identify which sectors are doing good on a comparative basis. दिस इज द ब्रेकअप ऑफ निफ्टी. तो कौन से सेक्टर्स का कितना वेटेज है निफ्टी के अंदर, दैट इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू ट्रैक व्हेन यू आर डूइंग ट्रेडिंग, स्पेशली इन निफ्टी और यू आर ट्रैकिंग द इंडेक्स पर से. तो अगर वेटेज नहीं मालूम रहेगा तो यू विल नॉट नो which sectors are actually driving the market and what is causing the pressure or the selling pressure in the market. So of late, if you see, the financial service sector was doing relatively well. It has the highest weightage within Nifty, that is banking, insurance, all these counters have the highest weightage within Nifty. After that, it comes the IT stocks come into picture, which has a weightage of 13.76. And along with that, we have oil and gas. That's mainly because of Reliance Industries. And after that is the auto sector. ये जो स्लाइड का डेटा है, इट इज टेकन फ्रॉम निफ्टी इंडाइसेस करके एक वेबसाइट है. यू कैन रेडीली गो टू द वेबसाइट निफ्टी इंडाइसेस और एनएससी इंडाइसेस, वेर इन यू विल गेट ऑल दिस पर्टिकुलर इंटरेस्टिंग डेटा. अगर आप फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज पे डबल क्लिक करोगे, यू विल गेट द ब्रेकअप ऑफ द इंडिविजुअल स्टॉक्स which have the weightage within Nifty. So you'll clearly see that ICICI, HDFC, Reliance, Infosys, TCS, these are the top 5-6 companies which have almost 60-70% weightage within the Nifty index. So Nifty is a composition of 50 stocks. If you click on the individual sectors, you will get the breakup of the individual stocks as well along with the weightage. तो ये बहुत ही important और useful data है. It gets revised or refreshed, I presume, every month on a month-on-month basis. If there is any major change, from NSE's side, this particular data also gets refreshed. But especially अगर आप options में trade कर रहे हो, you should have a very good knowledge of which sectors are driving the market on a particular day, because if IT and financial services are doing good, there is a very good chance that Nifty will be performing on the positive side. Now coming to the actual technical analysis. So whenever you're doing, even though you're doing short-term trading, you should know which particular index or which particular stock you're trading in, and you should know the trend. Uska trend kya hai at that particular point of time. So if we break it down for Nifty, तो Nifty का जो trend है, it definitely is long term. उसका trend जो है अभी भी बिगड़ा नहीं है. It's still on the positive side, even though we have witnessed a correction of about 6% in the last few trading sessions. The long-term trajectory of Nifty still continues to be on the positive side. If you see from a monthly perspective or a weekly perspective, अभी भी Nifty का chart काफी positive है, even though we have corrected about 2000 points from the all-time high levels. Definitely, अगर secondary trend अगर देखा जाए, that is the medium-term trend, definitely the trend has witnessed a correction. That means there has been a bit of selling pressure that we have witnessed. So if you see I'll show you the daily chart also of Nifty, which shows a head and shoulder type of candlestick pattern, and we have witnessed a breakdown on the daily charts. And definitely daily जो minor trend होता है, that is the daily price fluctuation or 2 to 3 days type of candlestick pattern, and over there also we are witnessing selling pressure. तो आज का trading day is a classic example of which shows that the markets are under pressure. So we started the day relatively on the positive side. We witnessed a good amount of recovery in Nifty. But what is most important, जब भी आप to understand the strength of the market, we should see how the markets give a closing. Closing is the most important thing, which gives you an indication of the strength of the market. So clearly, if you see from the last few trading sessions, whenever we are going into the close, there is selling pressure which is being witnessed, and the index is giving a close at the bottom, that is the day low. So clearly there is pressure in the market, which can be demonstrated by the closing prices of the indices. So even though we recovered about 100-150 points in intraday trade, going into close, the index closed on a negative note. So this is the long-term picture of Nifty. Even though there are periods of consolidation and negative price correction, the market, that is Nifty, our markets have been one of the best performing markets post the 2008 financial crisis. So अगर आप long term chart देखोगे, clearly the trend is on the upside in the markets. But the most important thing is the trend from the relative medium term or the short term. Clearly आप देख सकते हो, there is a head and shoulder kind of pattern. I have highlighted the head and the left hand shoulder as well as the right hand shoulder. So currently we have witnessed a breakdown on the charts below this particular pattern. So 24,000, 24,650, 24,700 was a very crucial level for the index, because that was the previous swing low. And off late in the last 2-3 trading sessions, Nifty has witnessed a breakdown below 24,650. If we take the actual target of this particular pattern, it comes quite deep. It comes closer towards 23,400 on the downside. But we believe that the index will definitely witness correction. There is a chance, good amount of chance, that the markets may correct, looking at the breakdown that few of the large cap and the mid cap counters are experiencing. We are witnessing very high volatility. See, in today's session also, quite a few mid cap counters are witnessing bounce back of nearly 5-6% on the upside. That is the type of volatility which is there. When the stock is correcting, it is correcting 5-6%. Even when there is a pullback, there is 4-5% of pullback. So it's quite challenging in these particular times. So anyone who's a short-term trader should definitely trade with a fixed stop loss, because that is what is very important when you're doing short-term trading in the market. So currently, what I want to highlight is the trend is expected to be slightly on the negative side till the time we do not witness a convincing close about 24,700, which is the neckline of this particular pattern. So if we give a close and we witness a pullback once again towards 24,900, 25,000 levels, then this particular pattern will get invalidated. That is, we can once again experience a breakout on the upside. But till the time Nifty is trading below 24,700, we expect the markets to remain slightly subdued with a negative bias. Now coming to the important things that anyone should keep at the mind when you're doing technical analysis. First is the trading system. So everyone has their own trading setup. Some people may be trading based on moving averages. Some will be trading based on RSI. So your setup is your own comfort zone based on multiple times that you have been successful based on your back testing. You can create strategies based on your comfort zone. So that is the actual setup that you have. Along with the setup, there are other things which are extremely important to be a successful technical analyst or a trader in the market. The most important thing is risk management. अगर आप risk ठीक से manage नहीं कर पा रहे हो, even though you have a very good success rate, if you do not maintain the appropriate risk reward, you will not be a profitable trader in the long run. तो आपको अगर इसको एक लंबे समय से लंबे तौर पे आपको यही आपको कंटिन्यू करना है, दैट इज टेक्निकल एनालिसिस ट्रेडिंग इन द मार्केट्स, मेंटेनिंग द अप्रोप्रिएट रिस्क रिवॉर्ड is the most important thing while doing technical analysis. So we'll be having a lot of slides regarding this also. I'll explain how risk management works actually, what is position sizing, and what is the ideal risk reward ratio that you should maintain. इसके अलावा ट्रेडिंग साइकोलॉजी ऑल्सो प्लेज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट. सी व्हेन यू टेक अ पोजीशन, साइकोलॉजी इट इज टोटली डिफरेंट. अगर आप पेपर ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हो, मतलब आप सिर्फ चार्ट्स को देख रहे हो और एनालाइज कर रहे हो, दैट टाइम यू विल सी दैट योर सक्सेस रेट इज मच हायर. बट जब भी आप आपका खुद का पोजीशन लेते हो, पैसा डाल के पोजीशन लेते हो, दैट टाइम द सक्सेस रेशियो जनरली टेंड्स टू कम डाउन अ बिट, बिकॉज पीपल टेंड टू टेक drastically different decisions when their actual capital is involved in trading. You have to keep your emotions aside while doing technical analysis or trading in the market, because the markets are very ruthless. It does not give you multiple opportunities to correct your loss making positions. You should be extremely clear in your thought process. आपको किधर पोजीशन को काटना है, आपका स्टॉप लॉस कितना मेंटेन करना है, All these things are extremely important, and people tend to make wrong decisions when their own capital is involved in trading. So trading psychology, understanding what is your goal, never doing revenge based trading. Many people have this particular mindset कि अगर मैंने कोई particular stock में पैसा गवाया है, मेरे को उसी stock में से पैसा recover करना है. That is also a very negative thing to do. See, recovering can be done in any form. पैसा पैसा होता है, आपको कोई भी stock में recover हो जाए, it does not matter. But there is a mindset that अगर मैंने पैसा रिलायंस में गवाया है, मेरे को उसी से वापस recover करना है. That particular mindset generally tends to put people in a wrong position. You tend to make wrong decisions. So while trading, it's extremely important to keep a cool mind and take your decisions purely based on what the data is telling you and what the chart setup is telling you. So now going to various concepts of technical analysis. What are the main things in technical analysis that an analyst should just look at? The first and foremost is multi-time frame analysis. What is multi-time frame analysis? We'll discuss a few important concepts of technical analysis in the next few slides. So multi-time frame analysis is nothing but before taking a trade in the market, look at the larger picture. What is the chart actually telling us, and then go into the shorter time frame while taking a position. See, where multi-time frame analysis, अगर आप daily trading कर रहे हो या swing trading कर रहे हो, it's not just important to look at the daily charts. Have a quick glance what the weekly chart is telling you or the monthly chart is telling you. The larger trend may be exactly opposite of what the daily chart may be. So if you take an intraday position, and let's take an example that there may be a sudden pullback in a particular stock. So take the stock like Reliance. Currently the trend of Reliance is definitely on the downside, but on one particular day there may be a pullback in the particular counter. If you build a large position during intraday, and then once again, like how we are witnessing today going into the second half, there could again be selling pressure which comes in the market because the larger trend of the particular stock and the particular market is on the downside. So even though there may be short spurts of pullback, the larger time frame, the trend is on the negative side. So we should avoid doing trading on the long side in such counters. We should look up for setups where the larger time frame, the trend is on the upside. So even if there is a minor correction or a pullback during intraday trade, the stock is still trading on the positive side. So there is a good chance that the stock will continue the momentum on the upside. So this is what a multi-time frame analysis is. So if you see the larger time frame, this particular in the short term, it may look like the trend is on the downside in this particular counter. It definitely is showing that the stock is trading in a lower top, lower bottom chart structure. So if you see this, but do note that this is just one small phase during the actual bull run in a particular counter. So the stock that we are talking about is RVNL. During a particular week, we may see for 4 or 5 trading sessions the stock is on the downside, but if you see the larger time frame trend of the particular stock, it is on the upside, and it is better to avoid shorting such type counters because you never know when a sharp pullback can once again come on the upside, because the overall trend in the counter is on the positive side. So if the overall trend, the larger trend, is on the positive side, always look out for opportunities where you can go long in the counter. And if the overall trend, the larger trend, is on the downside or bearish, identify positions where you can go short in the counter. So this particular stock looks like it is recovering in the short term time frame. You can clearly see from the low point that the stock has witnessed a pullback on the upside. But if you see the larger time frame, the stock is still in a negative trend. Stock का trend negative side पे ही है. जो pullback जो आया था, that was just from a very small period time frame. Overall, the stock is in a major correction. If you see, this is an example. We are taking these things from an example perspective. So you can clearly see the stock of Campus from a larger time frame, that is a weekly time frame, is on the negative side. So identify opportunities where you can go short from an intraday basis, or from if you are doing intraday trading. Now coming to the point where we identify stocks. So there are different methods a particular trader can consider. The most common technical parameters are indicators like RSI, MACD, stochastic. ये सारे indicators है which gives you a confirmation signal while trading in the market. फिर derivatives के अलग अलग parameters है wherein you can make use of derivative data to take a position in the market, such as open interest, PCR, max pain. All these are derivative indicators. ये आपको tools है which give you additional confidence while taking a position. There is no single parameter which will tell that based on this you should take a trade. The most important is price action. Price action को आपको दूसरे parameters के साथ जोड़ना है, and then you build additional confidence while taking a position. Some of the new age parameters which technical analysts make use of is seasonality analysis, relative strength analysis, relative rotation graph. ये अलग अलग टेक्निकल के methods है where you can identify outperforming counters in the market. So let's just quickly run through a few setups and examples. We'll just briefly discuss regarding relative strength analysis. See, RSI अलग है, वो मोमेंटम बताता है, एंड दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग इज दैट इज RS relative strength analysis is basically you are comparing one counter with an underlying and identifying whether that particular stock is stronger in the market. तो आपको पूरा मार्केट एक बार देखना है एंड देन यू फाइंड आइडेंटिफाई, वी आर बेसिकली आइडेंटिफाइंग द स्ट्रॉन्ग सेक्टर मार्केट के अंदर, निफ्टी के अंदर, दैट इज इन द यूनिवर्स, कौन सा सेक्टर रिलेटिवली आउट परफॉर्म कर रहा है एंड विद इन दैट विच पर्टिकुलर स्टॉक इज ऑल्सो आउट परफॉर्मिंग. We generally make use of relative strength analysis. So it is also known as ratio chart. So basically what you're doing is you're dividing the closing price of a particular counter, dividing by the index that you want to compare it with. तो आपको आइडेंटिफाई करना है कि फार्मा स्पेस में सबसे स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट स्टॉक कौन सा है. So you do day by day, you divide the closing price of all the individual stocks within the pharma space divided by the index. So you will get a graph or a chart which will depict the price action. So stocks can do good because of two reasons: if the individual stock is itself doing good, or if the denominator is underperforming. So in these two scenarios the stock can outperform. तो आपको ये प्रोसेस करने से आपको पता चल जाएगा कि which is the counter which is relatively outperforming in the market. See, there is a software called trading view. ये free of cost software है. आप अगर trading view पे भी जाओगे, you can directly do a ratio chart, that is relative strength comparison. You just have to add the stocks over there at the extreme left hand side bar पे आपको मिल जाएगा, that is relative strength analysis. So it is a very simple method of identifying which stocks or which sectors are doing good in the market. So to identify which sector is doing good, you have to divide the sector. So Nifty Pharma divided by Nifty will give you an idea of how good Nifty Pharma is doing. Likewise, if you divide Nifty FMCG divided by Nifty, you will come to know whether FMCG sector is doing good or not. So if you do a comparison for all these sectors, you will identify which sectors are doing good in the market. उसके बाद you can come to the granular picture wherein you identify within which sector is doing good. Once you have identified that Nifty IT is the best performing sector, then we identify which stocks within Nifty IT are the best performing stocks. So that is one method that traders can consider to identify the counters which are doing relatively well in the market. So this is the chart of Nifty as well as trend. See, both the stocks may be looking relatively good, but if you see Nifty, if you see from during the same time period has surged witnessed a good upside of around 33%, but the trend, if you see, has surged nearly 400% during the same time period. So clearly the stock of trend is outperforming the market. So if you do the ratio chart of Nifty, I mean of trend divided by Nifty, this is the ratio chart that will come up for you. So clearly you can see that the stock is outperforming in the market, and anyone who wants to trade in such a strong counter can always do so on the long side. Likewise, if you are identifying for underperforming counters which you want to short, so you do a comparison of a particular stock and you divide it by Nifty once again. So this is a stock of Aarti Industries. अगर आप देख सकते हो during the same time period, you have to take the same time period into consideration. The software automatically does it for you. आपको कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं. You don't have to select a specific time period and all. You just have to select the stock that you want and you divide it by the underlying index that you want to compare it with. So clearly you can see that Aarti on a ratio chart is clearly underperforming in the market. The ratio chart also gives technical same patterns which are formed on price charts. Same patterns tend to form on the ratio chart as well, and they have the same meaning. तो अगर एक breakdown ratio chart पे आया है, it means that the particular counter is underperforming the market. So these are for stocks. So we have taken one other example, that is for pharma. So pharma for a good period of time in the last few months was outperforming in the market, and we see that this particular index, if you divide it by Nifty, you can clearly see that the chart is on the positive side. So this is the ratio chart of Nifty Pharma divided by Nifty. So if you see on the ratio charts, there is clearly positive traction on the upside. So if you see from a comprehensive procedure wise in technical analysis how you should go about doing trading, first is you identify which sector is outperforming, then you identify कि कौन सा stock वो particular sector में outperform कर रहा है, is both the sector and the particular stock in an uptrend. Then you check it with the technical parameters जैसे कि RSI हो या MACD हो, you just check it and confirm it on those particular parameters. Along with that, you check the volume for the particular counter. How is the stock? What is the volume indicating to us? Because volume is also a very important parameter in technical analysis. What is the risk reward that you are looking out for? Is the risk reward favorable and considering the current setup? So if all these things are on the checklist and if they are positive, you can go ahead with the particular trade. See, many times काफी बार क्या होता है, the stock may be in a strong setup and it may have given a breakout on the upside, but whether you are able to identify key from those particular levels also, we may get 5-6% movement on the upside. That is what is important for us, because it is not what the stock has already done. It is once you take a position, whether the counter will move on the upside or not, which is the most important thing. And that is where risk reward comes into picture, wherein you have to maintain a good risk reward to see that the particular trade comes out on the positive side. Now coming to another parameter which is very important in technical analysis is volume. See, if a stock is in a positive trend but there is no volume which is confirming that, it could be a false breakout or the stock could reverse in the next few trading days. So whenever you are doing technical analysis, always on most of the trading softwares you will have the volume at the bottom of the chart, which gives the very good अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द प्राइस एक्शन. सो अगर प्राइस ऊपर जा रहा है और वॉल्यूम भी लगातार बढ़ रहा है, इट मीन्स दैट समवन इज एक्यूमुलेटिंग द पर्टिकुलर काउंटर on regular intervals and expecting that the stock could continue the positive momentum on the upside. So if a trader is trading based on a breakout pattern and if there is volumes which are there which accompany the breakout, then there is a higher probability. See, टेक्निकल एनालिसिस में पूरा का पूरा गेम प्रोबेबिलिटी का है. कोई भी ये नहीं बता पाएगा कि दिस पर्टिकुलर ट्रेड इज गोइंग टू गो करेक्ट और नॉट. बट इफ यू एनालाइज इट फ्रॉम अ होलिस्टिक पर्सपेक्टिव, मतलब आप 10 ट्रेड लोगे तो उनमें से कितना ट्रेड सही जाएगा, दैट इज व्हाट बेसिकली टेक्निकल एनालिसिस इज ऑल अबाउट. There is no single trade which you can tell 100% that this trade will 100% go in the right direction. Even though all the setups, all the volumes, all the parameters are in your favor, there could still be a false breakout on the upside or the downside. So technical analysis को आपको एक probability के तौर पे देखना है कि if the setup is right and you are taking a position, in how many instances, if you take 20-30 trades, in how many trades you will come out on the winning side is what is most important in technical analysis. So this is a stock which witnessed positive breakout from its consolidation, and if you see, the volumes are clearly on the upside, that is picking up from significant volumes. This gives additional confidence. It's not anything else. It just gives कि हाँ trade में setup positive है. The stock has given a breakout. The volumes are also accompanying the breakout, so the trend can continue on the upside, because if someone is buying at such high prices with such high volumes, they might be having a view that the counter can go on the upside, and that is what we have to trade in the market based on a probabilistic situation. So if there is a breakout with volumes, it's positive. If there is a breakdown on the charts with volumes, that also gives additional confidence that the setup or the negative trend in the counter is expected to continue on the downside. So you can clearly see in this particular stock has given a trend line breakdown on the charts, and there is volume. The next post the immediate breakdown, you see that there is a pullback, but the pullback was not with volumes, and the stock was not able to sustain at the higher levels, and it gradually continued the trend on the downside. So in the next few trading days, the stock has continued the negative trend on the downside. It's sometimes difficult to match all the parameters. सभी parameters पे आपको signal मिलना काफी बार मुश्किल होता है. That the price action is going down, RSI is also giving you a signal, volume is also giving you a signal. Many times what may happen is 2-3 parameters may be in your favor, and there may be one parameter which is indicating something else, like a reversal on the chart. But then you have to give higher weightage to your setup, and what you have to take the decision at that point of time, based on the evidence which is in front of you. This is the concept that whenever you're doing technical analysis, always treat it in a in terms of probability. आपको हमेशा stop loss maintain करना ही है. अगर आप ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हो टेक्निकल में, ई मार्जिन कोई भी प्रोडक्ट हो, बट अकॉर्डिंगली यू हैव टू सेट योर स्टॉप लॉस. इफ यू आर अ स्विंग ट्रेडर, आपका स्टॉप लॉस थोड़ा बड़ा रहेगा, दैट इज अराउंड 3 to 4%. If you are an intraday trader, generally your stop loss be is 1-1.5%. अगर आप उससे भी लंबे तौर से आप ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हो, देन अकॉर्डिंगली यू हैव टू सेट अप योर स्टॉप लॉस, बिकॉज हर एक स्टॉक का वॉलिटिलिटी अलग है, हर एक इंडेक्स का वॉलिटिलिटी अलग है, and accordingly you have to decide what is the risk that you want to take while taking a position in the market. The other thing is, whenever the markets become extremely volatile, जैसे कि करंट सिचुएशन है, मार्केट्स काफी volatile और choppy है, it is better to reduce the positions while trading in the market, because you do not know whether there is a clear trend on the downside or there is a clear trend on the upside. It's quite choppy, even though the medium term trend is suggesting downside. In every day we are getting pullback in the market of 300-400 points, and then there is a correction once again on the downside. So it's quite difficult and challenging. So always trade with stop loss, and control your leverage when the markets are choppy. The other thing is, if you are doing trading in futures and options, always do trading in a hedged manner. मतलब आपका position safeguarded है from the next day's opening in the market. Because even though currently आज going into close, the setup is on the negative side, tomorrow we never know how the markets will actually open. Tomorrow there could once again be 100-150 points positive opening in the market. और अगर आपका डेरिवेटिव में पोजीशन है which is unhedged, there could be losses for you. तो हमेशा जब भी आप डेरिवेटिव में ट्रेड कर रहे हो, always do it in a hedged manner. These are few things to keep at the back of your mind. The हर एक ट्रेडर का रिस्क अलग रहता है, because your capital for trading is different. The positions that you can take or the risk appetite is different. So understand that हर एक के लिए derivatives trading नहीं है. For some, intraday trading is quite good. For some, swing trading is good. For some, investing is good, and for some, they enjoy derivative trading. So understand the risk profile that you have, based on the capital that you have, based on the goals that you have from a year perspective, monthly perspective. आपका क्या requirement है? All these things are very important to know when you're doing trading in the market. The rest of the concepts we have already discussed regarding stop loss, volatility, risk tolerance. So these are few important points to always keep at the back of your mind. So these are always trade. Whenever you're doing trading, also always consider to do trading in high quality counters, because even though you may get trapped from an intraday basis or a short term basis, if many times what happens is people just close their positions or leave their positions. If you're trading in good quality counters, there is a very good likely chance that the stock may once again rebound and come back to your original price. But if you're doing trading in high beta, not so good companies, there is a good chance that your capital may get wiped out, because if you are doing trading only in penny companies or companies which are not at all posting any profits, you know that काफी बार ऐसा होता है कि आपको मालूम है ये कंपनी अच्छा नहीं कर रहा है, but just to capture the short term profit you do trading. See, you may do 2 to 3 times, you may come out on the profitable side, but अगर आप एक बार भी ये सारे स्टॉक्स में फंस जाते हो, it becomes very difficult to recover your capital. Many stocks, penny stocks especially, when there is selling pressure, when the markets are doing good, these counters also tend to do good. It's high beta, high profit, I mean high risk, high losses. So, but when the market tide changes and when the selling pressure actually comes, many times these stocks from the small cap and the penny stock counters tend to go into circuits, and back to back lower circuits are witnessed in such counters. So that time it becomes very difficult to actually close your position. So please do take care while trading. Even though you're doing trading, do it in the relatively better high quality companies, so that your position is relatively well off. Now coming to the concept of risk reward. See, the name may sound as risk reward, but it is actually reward divided by risk. So take an example that a particular stock is trading at 400 rupees. Your target is 20 rupees on the upside and your stop loss is 10 rupees. So what is your actual risk reward? Your risk reward is 2 is to 1. So you divide 20, which is your target, divided by your stop loss. So your risk reward in this particular case is 2 is to 1. So even if your strike rate is slightly less and your risk reward is good, you will come out on the positive side. So if you take the particular first example, even though you have 60% strike rate, if your risk reward is 2 is to 1, after 10 trades your returns will be 8%. Likewise, if your risk reward is poor, see, I'm not saying that anyone will be trading with 1 is to 2 risk reward, that is 10 rupee profit and 20 rupee stop loss. But there are many times that traders do such type mistakes, wherein your target will be 410, but if the trade goes wrong, they will hold their position on the negative side for 20-30 points on the downside. So even if your strike rate is high in such scenarios, if you do not maintain the right risk reward, even after 10 trades, even though you have a strike rate of 80%, you will still come out with just about 4.5% on the positive side. So it is very important to understand risk reward from a trading perspective. Now coming to the concept of stop loss and position sizing. See, stop loss is the only tool that is there for traders who are doing intraday trading or trading in the derivative market. Because if you do not close out your position, many times what we are seeing is you when you take the trade, जब भी आप ट्रेड ले रहे हो, उसी समय आपको जानना है कि आपका स्टॉप लॉस कितना रहेगा और आपका टारगेट कितना रहेगा. इफ यू डिसाइड वंस द ट्रेड गोज रॉन्ग, उस टाइम पे द स्टॉप लॉस विल कम मच डीपर, आपका कैपिटल काफी इरोड हो सकता है. So when you take a position itself, you should know that this is the place where I'll close my position if the trade goes wrong. The other important thing is position sizing. Position sizing is basically telling us that if you have decided that this is your stop loss and this is the capital that you have for a particular risk reward, how many stocks should I actually buy? So position sizing is telling us that if we have a risk appetite of 2%, and we know that a particular level is our stop loss, how many shares should we actually buy of that particular counter is what risk reward is actually telling us. I mean, position sizing is actually telling us. So if you take the example of ITC, in this particular example, wherein we are taking a position at 450 and 435 is our stop loss. So it tells us that if our risk appetite is 2%, what is the number of quantity we should buy if we have a particular capital allocated with us. So that is known as position sizing. Even if you Google position sizing, it will be available for you. It's a very important concept to know when you're doing trading. See, trading has a lot to do with maths as well. Maintaining stop loss, maintaining risk reward, ये सारे चीज काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है. सी नॉट ओनली सेटअप एंड टेकिंग लार्ज पोजीशंस, it is maintaining your position sizing when the trade goes wrong, when to cut your position, maintaining your cool and calm when the markets are not going in your favor. All these things form an important part of the trading setup. Now coming to the importance of stop loss, why stop loss is important. I hope you can clearly see this chart. ये चार्ट रिलायंस इंडस्ट्रीज का है, which was formed just few trading days back, that is just about 10-15 trading days back. तो आप चार्ट सेटअप पे क्लियरली देख सकते हो, there is a clean breakout on the charts above the declining trend line. So if you connect the swing highs, you can clearly see that there is a breakout on the chart. The extreme right hand side is the breakout on the chart. All the technical parameters are indicating that the breakout is on the upside. We have volumes also which are picking up. The RSI is also above 60. The chart has given a clean breakout. But the very next trading day, the breakout was nullified. That is, selling pressure came in the stock. It's a clean classic example of a false breakout on the upside, wherein post the breakout there is intensive selling pressure which is seen. So if you do not maintain a stop loss, within just 10-12 trading sessions, Reliance Industries has corrected about 400 points from the high point with that breakout point. So that is why, even though the setup may be extremely positive, all the technical parameters may be in your favor, if you do not maintain a stop loss, you could witness significant losses. तो कितना भी अच्छा सेटअप हो, always maintain that 2%, 2% or 3% is where I'm going to close my trade if the trade goes wrong. So that is very important when you're doing trading in the market, because you're not buying Reliance from an long-term 5-year, 10-year perspective. You're doing it from intraday or swing trading perspective. So your setup and mindset also should be such that if your trade goes wrong, you should be absolutely ruthless in cutting your positions as well, because if you do not do so, the markets will definitely punish you if you're doing a trading without maintaining the appropriate risk reward. If you are doing derivative based trading, then maintaining stop loss is even more important, because the price movement in derivatives is almost 10-20 times much more compared to what the stocks display to you. So if you see option trading like Bank Nifty, Nifty, the option prices move significantly during the day. So this is a setup of Bank Nifty. Almost till 2 p.m. there was absolutely no movement in the option prices. Then suddenly from 200-300 levels, the option price went to 1100 on the upside, and then again from 1100 the option price has come back towards 200 levels on the downside. So even if you get one part of the trade correct, that is, you get the breakout correct, if you do not maintain a trailing stop loss, once again your position will come back within 10-15 minutes to the same level. So I'm not saying that you will be able to book at the absolute high point in this particular case, but even if you are able to capture 20-30% in this particular trade, it makes significant returns. But that is possible only if you maintain the right stop loss and the risk reward. This is another example of derivative trading, wherein the weekly expiry of Bank Nifty option price moved to 340, and within the next 10-15 minutes it's back to zero on the downside. So in derivative trading, maintaining the stop loss is much more important than the cash segment also. See, I'm not saying cash does not require you to maintain the stop loss, but derivatives, you require to be extremely agile. That is, you have to be in front of the screen, because the price movement is such, it does not give you much time to think and trade. It's all based on instinct, and you have to be extremely quick in taking a position and closing out the position as well. Sometimes in derivatives, the entire day the index may not move by 50-60 points also, but within 10 minutes there may be a 200 point movement in Nifty or Bank Nifty. So you have to be constantly monitoring the markets and closing out your positions whenever you are comfortable. Yeah, that's a wrap of today's session. Thank you so much to all my friends who have joined this session. Now we can start with the Q&A. Anyone who has any questions regarding the topic may please ask so. I will not be able to take any stock specific questions, but if you have anything regarding the topic, please do ask in the chat section. Thank you once again. So thank you to all the participants who have attended the session once again and who constantly encourage us to take sessions. So thank you. So what there is a question regarding what about Diwali picks? We have already shared 10 stocks for Diwali. Diwali picks. If you go to SBI Securities website, all these stocks are available for you on the website portal. We have You can go over there. It's there. It's soon will be uploaded on the mobile app as well in the Diwali pick section. All the rationals as well as the targets are mentioned over there, so you can definitely go to our website and take these stocks. It's from a yearly perspective, and all the target minimum target prices for them are about 15% and above. So there is if there is a question regarding how do I place a stop loss. See, if you go to our YouTube channel, that is SBI Securities YouTube channel, we have a specific video which mentions how to place a stop loss. So if you go there, that particular video will explain exactly how you should place the stop loss in the application itself if you're trading via the mobile or the desktop platform. So I would request you to kindly go to the YouTube channel of SBI Securities, and there is a specific video over there which mentions how to do trading with stop loss, and you will get a much better understanding of it. So there is a suggestion that could you make a live session video as well. So definitely we will take your suggestion regarding the same. So there is FI selling and China market positive trend will affect Indian stock market. So it's difficult to tell that the fund flow which is happening is going to China itself, because if you see the fund flow data, it is not clearly indicating that the money which is the going to China, because even there the FI data is on a negative side. Uh, it's not really positive, even though their markets are doing good. It's not that everyone is rushing ahead and going to buy Chinese markets, because the thing is with Chinese market, it has become quite a regulated market. No one knows what the government is going to do next. So it's quite a risky market over there. You can say that a lot of fund flow which is happening is actually going back to the US. That could make sense because their markets are doing extremely well at the current juncture, as well as ahead of the elections. They might be taking out a bit of funds of the market, that is the elections in the US market, that is. And over there the treasury yields also have started picking up, so that is also a good place to park your funds from a long term perspective. It's an extremely the US Treasury yields are the most safest product in the entire world. So fund flow could be happening and going there as well. So thank you for your positive comments also. It gives us a lot of encouragement. Thank you to Siddharth Malik. You constantly attend almost all our sessions. Thank you so much for taking your time out and having attended today's session as well. So, is there a method to find a range for a particular stock for the next day? It's very difficult to to say that a particular stock will trade in a particular range. More or less, by the beta of a particular counter, uh, whether it is a volatile counter or it's by nature the stock is range bound. So most of the PSU banking counters tend to be low beta. That is, that they are range or a particular movement for a day. You can do this based on historical data as well. It's quite a slightly tedious task wherein you take the high and low for a particular stock over a period of time, and you more or less you will understand that a stock like ITC generally tends to move 10-15 points in a day. So 1 to 2% is max what ITC would move in a day. But a stock like Adani Enterprises tends to be much more volatile in nature. And if you take the based on historical data, the standard movement for Adani, it would generally be 3 to 5% on a particular day. I'm not saying the trend. I'm saying that a stock like Adani is much more volatile and high beta, or a stock like DLF. These counters tend to be high beta counters, wherein, or the metal counters also like JSW Steel, Vedanta, these are generally high beta counters. So they generally tend to have higher price range on a particular day. So thank you for your positive comments. Thank you so much. So, if you go to TradingView, these indicators are readily available. If you type in the parameter list, the RSI indicator, you will get the RSI itself. The 14 period RSI is what generally traders tend to make use of. Even if you want relative strength analysis, it's there in TradingView. You could just put a small Google comment. It's there absolutely right at the top on the left hand side. You just have to, where the plus button is to add the stock. There itself, you can do the relative comparison. Even if you take a simple video of doing on YouTube, you will get how to do relative strength analysis in TradingView. You just have to add the stock first and divide it by the base index that you want to compare it with. So a reality stock like DLF, you would like to check it with the reality sector, whether DLF is outperforming or underperforming in the reality sector. And you can do it with Nifty as well to identify whether DLF is outperforming the markets or not. Is profitable to trade long term positions then short term? See, the risk appetite also should be such, because if you're taking a position for long term, your position is subject to long term volatilities as well. So like if the current market scenario, if you buy something like at 500 rupees, you should be having the appetite to hold it 10-15% lower as well, because see, 6% is actually not a meaningful correction. 6% is just a small dip. During the rally that we saw between 2002 to 2008, there were many instances where the Nifty index, it went up multifold times, but there were many instances wherein the index witnessed 10-15 type corrections. So if you have the appetite to hold positions for deep corrections, then long term trading would work out for you. But if that is not the case, then you step out when the markets are trending on the negative side, and once there is a reversal on the upside, then you can consider to do trading with the risk reward which suits you best. So there is no specific style which I can tell you that which would guarantee to work. For some people long term works, for some people the short term trading works out better, sir. So if I give in a very simple answer why Indian markets are on the downside, the markets are clearly down because of the strong FII selling. अब तक कोई भी महीने में there has not been a sell figure which has crossed 70,000 crores, 75,000 crores in 1 month itself. This is the first time in the history wherein we have witnessed such high sell figures from FIs. Why they are selling, where they are taking their cash flows, that's very difficult to tell. But that definitely it is one of the reasons for the selling. See, we may be seeing counter figures from the domestic markets, that is the DIs, but DIs might be buying totally different stocks from what FIs are selling. FIs may be selling their frontline counters like Reliance, HDFC, Bajaj Auto. These were the stocks they may be selling, and that's why we are witnessing Nifty is going down. We may see a figure like 3,000 crores FI selling and 5,000 crore FI, I mean DIA buying. We will say that 2,000 crores is in surplus, but the DIA buying may be happening totally in some small cap or mid cap counters because they find the particular stock attractive. It has no relation to where the market should actually go based on the FI and DIA selling. But most of the time, FIs tend to do trading relatively in the frontline counters. I think the second next question also has been more or less answered. Is MF buying indicative of outperformance? Mutual funds generally tend to have a good pick or hold on the domestic markets. I feel that our domestic mutual funds have done relatively better than the FIs. The reason being they are much more closer to our markets and have a better understanding. And if you see a particular stock has been gradually accumulating, or the mutual funds are gradually accumulating a particular counter, then most of the times the stock generally over a long term period has done good. It's not 100% foolproof method, but it is a good filter criteria to see that the stock that you buy has good interest from the mutual funds as well. So at present, I would say the Diwali picks itself are our main picks. From that, the large cap counters that we have suggested, one is Coal India. From the small cap space, there is a stock like Kilburn Engineering. Various counters we have suggested 10 counters for the Diwali picks. You can definitely go to our website. The rationale, along with the current market price that we have recommended with, along with their targets, the absolute rationale has been very nicely provided by the fundamental team. So I request you to kindly once visit the website and check out all the recommendations that we have given. Yeah, so that's an end of today's session. Thank you. The time frame, okay, I'll just suggest. So the time frame is generally till the next Diwali. So it's from a 1 year perspective. All the targets are generally 15% and above. So the markets are also slightly in a negative phase. So it will take a bit of time for the markets to consolidate. And generally, all the fundamental picks which are given generally tend to have a time frame of 6 months and above. So if the target comes sooner, well and good, but generally they have a time frame of 1 year. So there is a question, I have losses up to 30-40% in some scripts in e-margin. So I would kindly request, see, when you know that the trade has been taken from an e-margin perspective, kindly trade it with the appropriate risk. Stop loss तो आपको maintain करना बहुत ही important है, because recovering from 30-40% and coming to your cost price itself will be a very challenging thing. So कभी भी आप एक पोजीशन लेते हो, decide the stop loss for the particular counter at around 4-5% also. If you maintain, it is good, because if you do not cut, it becomes challenging for me also. Now if I tell you that you close out your position, and if there is a recovery in the market in the next few trading sessions, that is also very challenging. So you will have to analyze the stock script by script, and wherever the chart structure is negative, I would suggest to close out the positions. And once again, once there is a slight stability in the market, it would be better to take a fresh position and entry once the markets witness a slight positive rebound. But at the current juncture, especially in mid caps as well as small cap, in the last few trading sessions, we are witnessing a bit of selling pressure in the markets. Thank you to all our friends who have joined today's session. I hope it was a helpful session to all. So we will be having many more sessions in technical and derivatives. Next week we have a very good session on technical analysis, which my colleague Vinayak will be taking. So who I hope everyone joins. See you soon. Thank you.